Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Mother-in-Law Stories. Sometimes you just need to get tough and set hard boundaries with your mother-in-law, right? Well, we'll see something about that here. A quick side note before we begin, I want to remind you that there is another Lost Genre channel that is only focused on Am I the A-hole? It's called Lost Genre AITA Daily. You'll find the link in the description. Now let's get started with the first story. My mother-in-law thought she deserved more time with my dear daughter. When my mom and dad were down to see dear daughter, she would call at least twice a day. Mind you, she lived 10 minutes away and my parents lived 10 hours away, with little comments, "Oh, father-in-law and I were just in our way out and thought that we could stop by." Never mind the fact that they didn't usually go out much. Against my better judgment, she became the primary daycare provider for my daughter. We were buying a house and money was tight. So I went back to work as a kindergarten teacher. One day, right before Christmas, school was cancelled because of a snow day. I called her to tell her that dear daughter would not be there. Her response was, "X and Y won't get to see dear daughter." I think she expected me to pack up dear daughter and haul her over. A 50-minute drive in that weather. Weather, mind you, that had caused every school district in a 50-mile radius to be cancelled. Anyway, school let out for the summer and I called her, thinking it was a good daughter-in-law thing to do, to tell her about my dear daughter's doctor's visit. She inquired as to our plans for the next week. I said I had a baby shower to go on the day in question, and she said, "Well, when are you bringing dear daughter over so I can watch her during the shower?" Not, "Can I watch her?" I responded that I had a neighbor girl all lined up. Remember, she lives 35 minutes away from me and in the opposite direction of the shower. She said, "Oh," and hung up on me. I called dear husband and told him what had happened. His response was, "You must have said something to mom." After I told him exactly what was said, he came around with, "I don't know what her problem is." 4 weeks later, she called and my phone was on vibrate. Dear daughter and I were taking a nap. The constant buzzing woke me up. Anyway, she left a voicemail sobbing, "I'm sorry for whatever I've done. I just want things to go back to the way they were." Big tears. Dare I say, fake tears? Again, I called dear husband, and this time I replayed the message for him. He wanted to know if I was going to call her back. I said, "No, I have nothing to say to her," and the message did not elicit a response. Anyway, about 3 hours later, I got a call from dear husband asking me to call mother-in-law. It seems that mother-in-law called brother-in-law with a sob story. "They're keeping dear daughter from me." Never once did she admit to what she had done. Screening the call was a lifesaver. I put up a little blow-up pool on the deck, and when her number showed up, I would step outside and then tell my husband that we were at the pool. So, here's what I've learned. Stick to your guns and don't give any ground right away, because once mother-in-laws have the ground, they'll believe that they are entitled to it. It is much easier to hold your ground at first than to try to regain it. You may decide that you can relax on some things, but that is your decision, not mother-in-law. And most importantly, it's always best if your husband supports you. You two must be a team. I totally agree with OP regarding boundaries. It's important to set them and not generate any sort of hierarchical structure where the mother-in-law is at the top. That's why either the husband or the wife, regarding whoever's mother it is, needs to be there for their spouse and stand up for them when their mother starts being a crappy mother-in-law. But in any case, you guys know that this is just my opinion. So now, let's move on to the second story. Dear husband and I have been married for almost 3 years, and I am 8.5 months pregnant with our first child together, and therefore a little on edge and prone to progesterone rage episodes. I have a 6-year-old son from a previous marriage. In general, I have gotten along with my mother-in-law. Sure, she gets on my nerves, but up until recently, it hasn't been anything unbearable. We have had 2 major issues come up since I got pregnant. The name issue and the babysitting issue. You also have to keep in mind that nobody talks back to my mother-in-law, and the whole family refuses to disagree with her or challenge her. The name issue. Our son-to-be is going to be named after his father, grandfather, great-grandfather. For example, Bob the Fourth. And we chose a nickname we liked to go with it. Well, my mother-in-law hates the nickname and has, for months, continued to make suggestions because we have chosen a horrible name to call him. Recently, she began announcing that she was going to call the baby X, Y, or Z because she just didn't like the name we picked out. Again, this child will be named entirely for his father. It's only the nickname that I got to choose. I tried joking back with her, I tried changing her name to make a point, and finally threatening to withhold baby time if she refused to call him by his given name, all to no avail. It finally upset me to the point that my dear husband had to tell his mom to just back off and quit upsetting me. He also told her that we had chosen a name and she just had to deal with it. So she finally let that go, at least for now, but I have a feeling she's not done with it yet. The babysitting issue. Last weekend, keep in mind I am 8.5 months pregnant, a hormonal stew running through my veins. She began insisting that she was going to keep the baby overnight whenever we went out, like for dinner and a movie, and during the trip we've planned. Not a big deal, except that the trip we're planning is to take the baby to see my sister. The baby will be 10 weeks old, way too young for me to be comfortable leaving him overnight with anyone. And we just don't go out much. Also, there is another set of grandparents to consider, and the fact that she doesn't have so much as a crib. And I haven't even had the baby yet. It seems a little early for anyone to try to claim dibs on babysitting when we probably won't need anyone to watch the baby for 5 to 6 months. On top of all this, she did not mention once taking care of our 6-year-old. Just the baby, which really insulted me. My dear husband thinks of our 6-year-old as his own flesh and blood, and she completely left him out of all this quality time she's decided she deserves to have. The cherry on top of the sundae is when she announced that she was going to, not asking, but informing us, pick up the baby, again, no mention of our other child, every Friday to have special time with him. I immediately said, I don't think so, and pointed out that she certainly would be welcome to special days with the baby, but that we are not going to commit to any given schedule or guarantee specific times to anyone. It's not fair to say one grandparent can have the baby every Friday or any specific time and not extend a similar offer to the other. I turned to my dear husband to intervene and put an end to this rapidly spiraling out of control argument, but he said he didn't see a problem with it. And the moment the words were out of his mouth, he knew he said the wrong thing. To this, his mother turned triumphantly to me and replied, "See, he knows better than to disagree with me." My father-in-law immediately changed subjects, thus saving his wife's very life as I was prepared to hurl sharp objects at her. On the way home, dear husband and I had a long talk, at which time I informed him if he ever took her side against me in public again, he would no longer be living with me and could move back in with her. I pointed out that our marriage and loyalty to each other comes first, and I will not play second to anyone else, and neither should he. Overall, my main gripe was that she was not asking for time. She was announcing what she was going to do without regard for our authority and ownership of the said unborn child. I pointed out that it was our kid, and if she didn't watch it, she could end up playing a very limited role in his life. I'm the mommy, period. He apologized and is planning on speaking with his mother tonight to inform her that she has no right to dictate when she will or will not see the baby, that she needs to remember that we have 2 kids, not just one, and that if she ever tries to pit us against each other again, there will be consequences of the "we'll see you in a month when you've learned your lesson" variety. Oh, and to quit being so mean to his pregnant wife. So, I guess I'm lucky because my hubby knows he made a mistake and is going to make sure his mother understands that our priorities are to each other. On the other hand, she's still breathing. Oops. Good job, OP. I'm sure that conversation you had with your husband helped him screw his head on the right way. I also have to say that the moment I read that part where he said he doesn't see a problem with it, I instantly imagined Hagrid saying, "I should not have said that." That's just my nerdy side note. In any case, you are absolutely right. You are the mommy, period, and he's your husband, so he should stick up for you, and that's it. I hope that conversation with his mother went exactly the way you expected and that things get easier from now on. I also hope you guys are able to work something out so she starts building a bond with your older son. Alright, and now we move on to the final story. My boyfriend and I have been dating for almost 5 years. I love him dearly and we have stayed in this relationship with the thought of us marrying. However, the reason we have not yet married is due to issues with his family and religious differences. His family does not like me, and I am always made to feel out of place and as an outsider. I have purposefully and intentionally been excluded from their family celebrations because I'm not family. But my boyfriend has been part of every single family celebration in my family from the very start. My concern is my boyfriend's inability to stand up for me and himself to his parents. He says he thinks it's disrespectful to confront them with the issues or to tell them they need to treat me with respect. His mother has even said in front of me that she's run into some girl at the store and told her to come over to her house and have a pick at either of her sons because they were available. This occurred when we had been dating almost 2 years. My boyfriend and I will make plans and then they call and say that they are coming into town. They live 3 hours away. Automatically, our plans go out the window and my boyfriend has to devote every waking hour to them and shower them with attention. I mean, what kind of parents smother their children like that? Why can't he just say he's made plans already? When I ask him why he doesn't, he says that he doesn't get to see them as often as I get to see my parents, so it's only fair. My parents live in town, but it's not my fault that his parents decided to retire and move. If they want to be so close to their sons, why did they move away? Don't they want their children to find someone that makes them happy and have a life of their own? I don't understand it. I love my parents and am extremely close to them, but I don't have a problem with telling them that I already have plans with my boyfriend, or we reschedule or compromise somehow so that everyone is happy. I certainly have stood up for my boyfriend with my parents before. Why can't he do the same for me? He says he doesn't want to be in the middle, that it's between me and his family. Isn't he automatically in the middle? He can't pick and choose. I am automatically in the middle between him and my parents. I'm just good at making sure everyone stays happy. I feel betrayed by his inability to stand up for us. They don't have to like me, but they do have to respect me, and they have to accept the fact that I am his girlfriend. His mother treated me great the first year we dated. I feel like maybe she liked me when she thought we weren't serious, and so she wasn't worried about it. But once we stayed together past that first year mark, she started worrying. I want us to get married within the next year. I am 26 and he's 32, but he says he doesn't feel like he's ready. What do I do? I love him more than anything, but I've already devoted 5 years of my life to this guy with no commitment. We have always talked about getting married, and he says he definitely wants to, but that he's scared, and that makes him feel like he's not ready. He's concerned about his family's reaction. He says that he also wants me to take part in his family's events, etc., like he does with mine. But my family treats him with respect and includes him in everything. He has been treated as part of my family from the beginning. I, on the other hand, am always made to feel not welcomed. Why would I want to take part in family events where I'm made to feel so disrespected? He says that if I love him, I will. But I don't think I should give up my self-respect for anyone. I know they say you marry the family, but how do you ignore your feelings for the guy? I can't imagine myself with anyone else. He says the same. I also believe the main reason that his family doesn't like me is because I am Catholic and they are Baptist. I don't understand how in this day and age people can be so close-minded. We are both Christians. We get along fantastically until we discuss his family, marriage, or religion. His family puts a lot of pressure on him on making sure that he raises his children Baptist and in his home church, which is 3 hours away. Before we met, he went to his parents' house every single weekend to attend church and be there. When his brother decided to move to the same town we live in, and away from his parents, they told my boyfriend that he had to take him in. We got along so much better before his brother moved in with him. He's been nothing but trouble ever since he moved in. My boyfriend now says he resents his parents for having put him in that situation, but he still can't face talking to them about it. Initially, the plan was to wait until his brother graduated from college for us to get married, so they could sell the house. But the brother has gone 2 years over and still has not graduated, supposedly this Christmas. Then, the plan was to wait until after he graduated and found a job. My boyfriend found him a full-time job. Now, they don't think he can cover everything on his own, even after graduation and with his full-time job. So now my boyfriend feels this obligation to stay there until his parents say he can leave or his brother can handle everything on his own. I am so fed up with all of these family obligations and his inability to share his true feelings with his parents. I feel like I'm being forced to move on without him, but I really want to live my life with him. I just don't want to make it 10 years and then find out that he still isn't ready for marriage. Okay, OP, just a couple of things. First, it is most likely that you will be in that 10-year mark and he still won't be ready for marriage. Why? Because he simply has no spine. His parents raised him to be a mama's yes boy. You are just not his first priority in anything. Take the case that he says that if you love him, you will make it work and take the crap his family gives you. That's basically emotional manipulation, which is something I'm guessing his mother did to him throughout his life. Finally, he keeps moving the goalposts. First, it's his brother graduating, then his brother having a job, then his brother being able to take care of his own life. What the hell, man? All the while, he strings you along. OP, I know you say you love him, but the real question is, can you truly love somebody who has no spine, no character, and is unable to stand up to his own parents? Basically, somebody who is impossible to admire in any way. Anyways, sorry for my long rant. OP, your best bet is to just get out of that relationship as quickly as you can and not look back at all. But that's just my opinion. Alright guys, we've reached the end of the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, go ahead and click like. If you still haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and click subscribe. Also, don't forget that there's another channel called Lost Genre AITA Daily for your Am I the A-hole daily needs. Finally, don't forget to check out the Lost Genre subreddit for you to share your own stories or cross-post stories you want me to feature in videos. And having said all of that, I will see you guys in the next video.